The Sun's transit through Leo from August 17th to September 17th, 2025, marks one of the most significant astrological phases of the year, not only because the Sun is moving through its own sign but also due to its conjunction with Ketu, triggering an intense eclipse season. It is essential to note that these interpretations are based on Sidereal or Vedic astrology, which accounts for the approximately 24-degree difference with the tropical zodiac. Leo is the natural fifth house of the zodiac and a sign that resonates deeply with the Sun's core qualities: authority, vitality, confidence, leadership, and the sense of self. When the Sun returns to its own sign, it becomes strong and radiant, intensifying themes of individuality, self-expression, creativity, and ambition. This year's transit is far from a straightforward empowerment period. The Sun's union with Ketu in Leo sets the stage for karmic introspection, ego dissolutions, and challenges to authority structures, both personally and collectively. With an eclipse season unfolding, this transit demands awareness, adaptability, and a willingness to let go of outdated ways of asserting power or seeking validation. The astrological climate during this period is charged with multiple planetary movements that will shape the Sun's influence. Mercury will join the Sun in Leo on August 30th, sharpening intellect and communication, but also amplifying the potential for heated debates and pride-driven exchanges. On September 15th, Mercury moves into Virgo, coinciding with Venus entering Leo, adding charm, creativity, and a magnetic social presence to the otherwise intense Sun-Ketu environment. Mars begins this transit in Virgo, fueling practical action, and then shifts into Libra on September 13th, which could redirect energy toward partnerships, diplomacy, and negotiations. Jupiter, the planet of wisdom and expansion, continues to transit Gemini, encouraging learning, networking, and broader perspectives. Meanwhile, Saturn's retrograde motion in Pisces creates a backdrop of deep karmic review, urging responsibility, emotional maturity, and long-term thinking. The most defining feature of this period is the eclipse season. The total lunar eclipse on September 7th occurs in Aquarius, directly opposite the Sun in Leo, in Purvabhadrapada Nakshatra, with Rahu in its own sign of Aquarius. This will bring turning points in relationships, societal structures, and community dynamics, as the Leo-Aquarius axis is activated, highlighting the balance between personal recognition and collective responsibility. The solar eclipse on September 21st takes place in Virgo under Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra, close to the Sun's exit from Leo, intensifying the themes of ego cleansing and karmic closure initiated earlier in the month. Eclipses have the power to temporarily obscure clarity, so decisions made impulsively during this period could later require revision. The influence of Ketu in Leo can magnify this by dissolving the ego-driven motivations that normally accompany the Sun's transit here, forcing a focus on humility, service, and inner growth. In astrology, the Sun represents the soul, vitality, authority, government, father, and career status. When it is strong in Leo, these areas tend to receive a boost in confidence and visibility. People often feel a surge of ambition, a desire to lead, and a stronger sense of personal direction. Yet Ketu's conjunction modifies this expression significantly. Ketu brings detachment, spiritualization, and a tendency to dissolve worldly attachments. When Ketu aligns with the Sun, there can be moments of self-doubt, lack of clarity about life's purpose, or feelings of being unseen despite efforts to shine. This can manifest externally as challenges in career recognition or authority disputes, and internally as an urge to retreat from public life to engage in spiritual or creative pursuits. The closer the Sun and Ketu are in degrees, the more intense the effect, mirroring the energy of a solar eclipse even outside the exact eclipse dates. From a global perspective, some Ketu conjunctions often coincide with shifts in leadership, sudden policy changes, and events that challenge established authorities. There can be revelations about figures in power, unexpected resignations, or the exposure of hidden truths. Since the Sun also signifies health and vitality, collective concerns about public health, governance, and national pride may surface. The Leo energy still seeks self-expression, but with Ketu present, it asks whether that expression serves personal ego or a higher collective purpose. On a personal level, this is a time to examine how one's sense of self-worth and authority is built. If it depends solely on external validation, the Sun-Ketu influence can feel destabilizing, as recognition might be delayed or withheld. For those willing to focus inward, this transit can become a deeply transformative spiritual period. It is excellent for meditation, creative work without the need for immediate appreciation, and releasing unhealthy pride or controlling tendencies. The Sun in Leo usually pushes individuals toward the spotlight, but Ketu reminds them that true confidence comes from alignment with inner values, not from applause. The eclipse season adds a layer of unpredictability, meaning that outcomes during this time may not fully reflect the final picture. Eclipses often reveal hidden factors, but their full meaning unfolds in the months following. This is why astrologers often recommend avoiding major life decisions, such as job changes, business launches, or marriage commitments, on or near eclipse dates unless these were already long in motion. The best use of this transit is to observe, reflect, and prepare for more decisive action after clarity returns. Wherever the sun goes in transit for 1 month, our soul and our focus go into things related to that house. A person will feel gravitated, motivated, or even forced to take up things related to the house where the sun is moving. Likewise, if the sun is transiting over any significant natal planets in your chart, especially your moon, Mars, or Jupiter, those themes will activate prominently in your life. It's essential to look at dignity of planets to derive precise outcomes. To accurately assess the impact of these transits, it is crucial to consider your ascendant and moon signs. The ascendant sign offers insights into the timing of life events, while the moon sign reveals how you will emotionally respond to these changes. Take into account the position of your current Maha-dasha lord in your birth chart, as it can shed light on how these transits will influence the recurring themes of your current dasha period. This transit may manifest differently for each individual, and how they navigate this transit will depend on their personal charts. A more precise understanding of the impact of this transit can be gained by examining the sun's Ashtaka Varga score in Leo. Keep in mind that the effects of this transit are contingent on sun's interaction with the planets in individual birth charts. It's also worth noting that individuals currently experiencing the influence of sun dasha periods may feel the effects of this transit more intensely. To understand how this transit may affect you based on your zodiac sign and the houses it transits, let's delve into those specifics. For Aries, the sun's transit through Leo becomes a significant period as the sun is the ruler of your 5th house of creativity, romance, intellect, speculative gains, and children. The sun will be transiting in its own sign, Leo, making this a time where self-expression, leadership, and individuality takes focus. This year, the sun is conjunct Ketu in Leo, creating a unique mix of empowerment and detachment in matters related to the 5th house. While the sun's presence here typically boosts self-confidence, ambition, and creative output, Ketu's influence might cause moments of doubt, introspection, or an unexplainable lack of satisfaction despite achievements. The 5th house also governs higher education and decision-making skills, and this combination may encourage you to rethink your goals, redefine your passions, and approach creativity from a more spiritual or philosophical perspective rather than purely materialistic aims. The period is also marked by the total lunar eclipse on September 7th in Aquarius, your 11th house of networks, friendships, and long-term gains, with the moon conjoined Rahu. This eclipse is significant for Aries people as it falls in the axis of 5th and 11th houses, directly impacting your balance between personal creative expression and collective social connections. You may experience sudden shifts in your social circle, group affiliations, or community roles. It can also highlight issues around friendships. Some relationships might end while others transform in unexpected ways. Financially, gains from networks or investments could be delayed, but on the flip side, new opportunities might arise once the eclipse effects settle. Since eclipses often bring the hidden to light, this could also be a time when you realize which friendships or associations are truly aligned with your long-term vision and which are holding you back. Your chart ruler, Mars, is currently transiting Virgo until September 13th, activating your 6th house of work, health, and daily routines. This adds a layer of productivity, determination, and problem-solving energy to the month. You may be more focused on completing pending work, improving efficiency, and tackling health or fitness goals. Mars in the 6th can sometimes lead to conflicts with coworkers or people in authority, so diplomacy is needed. Once Mars moves into Libra on September 13th, it will activate your 7th house of partnerships and relationships, bringing more emphasis on personal and professional alliances. This shift may also influence your 5th house matters, especially in love and romance, as partnerships take a more prominent role in your life. Romantic connections could intensify, and you might find yourself drawn to people who inspire you creatively or intellectually. With the Sun-Ketu conjunction in your 5th house, romantic matters may have a karmic undertone. You might meet someone from your past or feel drawn toward relationships that have a spiritual or fated quality. Ketu's detachment could also mean that some relationships fail to bring the emotional fulfillment you expect, prompting you to seek deeper meaning in love rather than surface-level excitement. For those in existing relationships, there may be a phase of introspection where both partners evaluate the purpose and direction of the connection. On the family front, matters related to children may demand more attention, whether it's guiding their education, dealing with behavioral changes, or celebrating their achievements. If you're planning to conceive, this period could bring both opportunities and delays, so patience and careful planning will be essential. Creatively, this transit is powerful, but you may find that inspiration comes in waves. Sometimes you feel highly motivated, and at other times, you might feel an unusual disinterest. This is the effect of Ketu dissolving attachment to worldly recognition, pushing you to create for the sake of expression rather than applause. If you work in a creative field, arts, media, entertainment, design, or any profession involving innovation, this can be a period of breakthroughs, but only if you remain open to unconventional approaches. Speculative activities such as stock market trading or gambling may seem tempting, but caution is advised, especially around the eclipse period, as unexpected shifts in market trends are possible. Mercury, the planet of communication and intellect, will be transiting Cancer at the start of this Sun transit, occupying your 4th house of home, family, and emotional stability. This suggests a strong mental focus on domestic matters and perhaps conversations or negotiations within the family. On August 30th, Mercury enters Leo, joining the Sun and Ketu in your 5th house, enhancing your ability to express ideas creatively but also possibly creating overthinking in romantic or educational matters. Mercury's presence here will make this an excellent time for academic work, public speaking, writing, or planning projects that require intellect and originality. Ketu's influence can sometimes scatter focus, so organization will be key. By September 15th, Mercury moves into Virgo, its exaltation sign, and into your 6th house, making this a period of mental clarity, problem solving, and precise execution, perfect for tying up loose ends in work and health routines. The combination of Sun, Ketu, and later Venus in your 5th house after September 15th adds another layer of charm and attraction in personal relationships. Venus will soften the otherwise intense Sun-Ketu energy, making interactions more pleasant and increasing the likelihood of romance or creative collaborations. You may also feel drawn toward artistic hobbies, leisure activities, and social outings. With the eclipse energy still active, it's important to remain aware of your emotional responses and avoid making impulsive romantic or financial decisions. Career-wise, the Sun's transit in the 5th indirectly influences your 10th house of profession through its connection with creativity and decision-making. This period may bring opportunities to take on leadership roles or projects that allow you to stand out. With Ketu in the mix, you may feel uncertain about whether these roles align with your true purpose. This could be a time of re-evaluating career paths, considering upskilling, or looking for work that offers more personal fulfillment rather than just financial reward. The Sun represents the soul, and its conjunction with Ketu can push you to seek meaning beyond material achievements. You may be drawn toward meditation, philosophy, or exploring metaphysical subjects. This is also a time when karmic patterns related to romance, creativity, or past life connections may surface, offering you the chance to release old attachments and embrace a new chapter. Overall, this Sun transit in Leo for Aries people is a powerful mix of self-expression, karmic lessons, and creative opportunities. While the Sun's strength in its own sign offers you energy, confidence, and the ability to take initiative, Ketu's presence asks you to filter out ego-driven pursuits and focus on what truly resonates with your soul. The lunar eclipse on September 7th acts as a turning point in friendships and long-term goals, while Mars' movement into Libra mid-September shifts energy toward partnerships. By the end of this transit, you may find yourself with a clearer sense of what inspires you, which connections matter, and how to align your creative energy with your life's larger purpose. For Taurus, the Sun holds rulership over the 4th house, the sector connected with home, domestic peace, emotional stability, property matters, vehicles, and one's relationship with the mother or maternal figures. Sun will move through its own sign of Leo, occupying the 4th house in your chart. Ordinarily, this transit would highlight matters of comfort, security, and inner contentment, often prompting actions to improve one's living environment, make property decisions, or focus on building a stronger emotional foundation. This year's scenario is not an ordinary one. The Sun's conjunction with Ketu in Leo significantly modifies its energy, making this a deeply karmic and introspective period where comfort zones may be challenged, emotional attachments tested, and matters of home and stability brought under a lens of detachment. Ketu's presence in the 4th house alongside the Sun can create a sense of emotional restlessness or a sudden disinterest in the very things that usually bring comfort. While the Sun in the 4th tends to bring pride in one's home or family background, Ketu's energy dissolves attachments, sometimes leading to feelings of disconnect from home life or an urge to make changes to one's domestic arrangements. This could manifest as a physical move, a shift in family dynamics, or a change in your emotional relationship with home and homeland. In some cases, this combination can bring about situations where you are physically present at home but mentally or emotionally elsewhere, focused inward or on more spiritual and philosophical matters. This transit occurs during eclipse season, which magnifies its significance. On September 7th, there will be a total lunar eclipse in Aquarius, which for Taurus individuals falls in the 10th house of career, public image, and authority figures. This eclipse occurs with the moon and Rahu in Purvabhadrapada Nakshatra, directly opposing the sun and Ketu in the 4th. This creates a powerful axis of influence between your personal life, 4th house, and professional life, 10th house. For some Taurus individuals, there could be career developments that require you to make adjustments at home, perhaps a relocation, change in working hours, or a shift in work responsibilities that impact domestic life. For others, the eclipse may bring a sudden realization that the way you have been balancing work and home is no longer sustainable, prompting changes to restore harmony. The Sun-Ketu conjunction can also shed light on hidden issues relating to family heritage or property. This might be a time when unresolved family matters, especially those involving ancestral property or inheritance, come to the forefront. Ketu's influence often demands a release from old patterns, so you might find yourself making decisions to let go of certain possessions, property disputes, or even outdated traditions that no longer serve your emotional well-being. Venus, the ruling planet of Taurus, plays an important supporting role during this period. At the start of this transit, Venus is in Gemini along with Jupiter, energizing your 2nd house of wealth, speech, and family resources. This suggests that financial matters, savings, and family relationships are already under focus. On August 21st, Venus enters Cancer, your 3rd house, where it will enhance communication, sibling interactions, and short journeys. This can be a time when conversations within the family become important, and travel related to property or home matters could be on the agenda. On September 15th, Venus moves into Leo, joining the Sun and Ketu in your 4th house. This shift can bring a more harmonious and creative energy into your home environment, perhaps prompting redecorating, beautification, or artistic projects at home. With Ketu still present, it's possible that material changes won't fully satisfy your deeper emotional needs, pointing once again to the theme of looking within for fulfillment. The eclipse axis of 4th and 10th houses can sometimes create a tug-of-war between personal and professional priorities. For Taurus individuals, who naturally value stability, this period may feel unsettling if either area of life demands sudden adjustments. The lunar eclipse in Aquarius can also trigger a change in public reputation or career path. This might not be negative, but it could be unexpected, requiring you to adapt quickly. The Sun-Ketu influence in the 4th can make you question whether your career ambitions align with your inner sense of peace and security. If they don't, you may feel a strong pull to restructure your work-life balance in a way that better supports your emotional health. From a psychological standpoint, this transit may lead you to examine the root of your emotional foundations. The 4th house is not only about the physical home but also about the internal home, the sense of safety and belonging within yourself. Sun-Ketu here can strip away false security, revealing where you have been relying too heavily on external factors, like possessions or the approval of family members, for stability. While this process can feel uncomfortable, it opens the door to developing a more self-sustaining inner peace. There may also be karmic themes involving the mother or maternal figures during this period. This could range from deep, healing conversations to facing unresolved issues from the past. If your mother's health has been a concern, this transit may require you to take a more active role in her care, though Ketu's influence may also mean some degree of emotional detachment in the process. In some cases, the conjunction can signify physical separation from the mother due to travel, relocation, or other life circumstances. Mercury will enter Leo on August 30th, joining the Sun and Ketu in your 4th house, which will heighten communication about home, property, and family matters. This is an excellent time for research, negotiations, and paperwork related to real estate or renovations. Since the eclipse energy is strong, it is better to delay finalizing major property transactions until after the eclipse period passes, when clarity will return. On September 15th, Mercury moves into Virgo, your 5th house, which can shift your focus toward children, creativity, and personal enjoyment, helping balance some of the intensity in the home sphere. Physically, the Sun's presence in the 4th house highlights the chest and heart region, so it's wise to be mindful of stress levels and cardiovascular health during this transit. Emotional strain can have a physical impact, so incorporating relaxation techniques, spending time in nature, and maintaining healthy routines will be important. Since Ketu can sometimes bring a wandering or unsettled feeling, grounding activities, from home cooking to meditation, can help you stay centered. The solar eclipse on September 21st will occur in Virgo, your 5th house, and this will mark the next step in the story. The themes that began with the Sun-Ketu in your 4th house and the lunar eclipse in the 10th will evolve into decisions about creativity, children, and romantic life. For some Taurus individuals, shifts in the home will influence how you approach these areas, possibly leading to new responsibilities or a change in priorities. Overall, this Sun transit through Leo is a period of deep reflection for Taurus individuals, where home, emotional security, and personal stability are under karmic review. While the sun in its own sign usually brings strength and pride in domestic matters, Ketu's influence ensures that you cannot simply rest in old patterns. The eclipses will serve as catalysts, revealing where adjustments are needed in the balance between home and career, comfort and ambition, attachment and detachment. If you can approach these shifts with openness and a willingness to release what no longer serves your inner peace, this period can ultimately lead to a stronger, more authentic sense of security, one that is rooted in self-awareness rather than external circumstances. For Gemini, the sun governs your third house of courage, communication, networking, self-effort, and short travels. Its current transit through Leo, its own sign, falls in your third house, making this period a time when your focus naturally turns towards your skills, self-expression, and personal initiatives. The sun here gives a boost to your ability to influence others through speech and action, while also highlighting your relationship with siblings, neighbors, and close acquaintances. This is not a straightforward, smooth transit because the sun is conjunct Ketu in Leo, which can bring both empowering and disconnecting effects in these areas. While your confidence in communication may rise, there could also be moments of self-doubt or situations where you question your own approach. This conjunction can make you more introspective about the way you connect with people, leading to a phase where you reassess your circle of influence and the kind of social engagements you truly value. The eclipse season adds intensity to this transit. On September 7th, there will be a total lunar eclipse in Aquarius, your ninth house, where the moon and Rahu will be positioned. This combination brings a direct link between your third house, self-effort, and ninth house, higher wisdom, beliefs, and long-distance connections. The eclipse could trigger important realizations about your personal philosophy, religious or moral beliefs, and the way your immediate actions connect to your larger life vision. Some of you may experience unexpected events related to travel, higher studies, or mentors during this period. Since eclipses often bring sudden developments, you might notice changes in your educational plans, legal matters, or relationship with father-like figures. This can also manifest as a clash between your immediate short-term plans and your long-term aspirations, urging you to find balance between practicality and idealism. Your ruling planet Mercury is playing an important role in this transit. Currently moving through Cancer, Mercury highlights financial and speech-related matters at the start of the period. On August 30th, Mercury will enter Leo, joining the Sun and Ketu in your third house, making communication even more central. This combination will enhance your persuasive abilities, yet Ketu's influence can also make your thoughts occasionally scattered or overly introspective. You might find yourself speaking less but with more impact, or preferring written forms of expression over verbal interactions. Then, on September 15th, Mercury enters Virgo, its exaltation sign, which for you is the fourth house of home, emotional security, and inner peace. This shift will bring more grounded thinking, allowing you to resolve domestic or property-related issues with clarity and efficiency. During this period, you may feel motivated to start new projects, especially those requiring self-learning or technical skills. The Sun in the third house tends to bring more initiative, and you could take bold steps in writing, public speaking, digital marketing, or social media engagement. If your work involves sales, client relations, or networking, you will likely have several opportunities to showcase your talents. Ketu's presence may make you less concerned about superficial connections, instead pushing you to build relationships that have depth and shared purpose. This could mean stepping away from gossip circles or unproductive discussions, and focusing on conversations that inspire growth. The lunar eclipse's influence on your ninth house may also stir a desire to break free from limiting beliefs. You might challenge long-held views or question the advice of authority figures, seeking your own understanding instead. For students, this can be a decisive time where you change your academic path or discover a new interest. If you've been planning to take a certification course, join a workshop, or travel abroad for study, the weeks around the eclipse could bring important news or shifts in plans. Spiritually, this is a time of awakening, where your quest for knowledge takes on a more philosophical or mystical tone. Physically, the Sun in the third house can give an energy boost, making you more active, but the conjunction with Ketu can sometimes lead to restlessness or sleep disturbances, especially if your mind is too occupied with ideas. You might benefit from grounding activities like walking or breathing exercises to channel this mental energy productively. Be mindful of overexerting yourself, as the desire to take on multiple tasks at once may lead to burnout. This transit also has implications for your relationships with siblings or close relatives. There could be moments of emotional distance or misunderstandings, especially during the days surrounding the eclipse. These situations might actually help in redefining boundaries and creating a healthier dynamic in the long run. Joint activities, travel, or collaborative work can still bring positive results if approached with patience and understanding. Career-wise, the third house sun can make you more noticeable in the workplace through your initiative and leadership in team projects. With Ketu present, recognition might come in unexpected ways. Sometimes your best contributions could go unnoticed temporarily, only to be acknowledged later. It's best to focus on doing your best work without being overly concerned about immediate appreciation. If you're in media, communications, education, or technology-related fields, this is a favorable time to explore new strategies, though you should remain open to last-minute changes due to the eclipse's unpredictable energy. The transition of Mercury into Virgo in mid-September will be a key turning point for you. After weeks of intense focus on external communication, you will begin to pay more attention to inner clarity and domestic matters. Issues related to home renovations, family discussions, or property transactions may progress more smoothly after this date. The precision and analytical thinking of Mercury in Virgo will help you make well-informed decisions in these areas. In terms of personal growth, the Sun-Ketu conjunction in your third house can act as a purifying force, helping you detach from the need for constant external validation. You may find that you no longer seek approval for your ideas as much as before, instead trusting your own judgment. While this can feel isolating at times, it also marks a stage of mental maturity where your confidence becomes less dependent on others' opinions. Overall, this is a transit of mental refinement, courage, and selective action for Gemini individuals. The Sun in Leo empowers your self-expression, but Ketu's influence asks you to be more mindful about how and with whom you share your energy. The lunar eclipse in your 9th house could bring transformative realizations about your beliefs and life direction, while Mercury's movement will guide you from external networking towards internal stability. By balancing boldness with thoughtfulness, and ambition with inner peace, you can make this period a defining chapter in your personal and intellectual growth. For Cancer, the Sun is the ruler of the 2nd house, which governs finances, family relationships, speech, accumulated wealth, values, and food habits. Sun will be transiting through its own sign Leo, which for you represents the 2nd house itself. This is a powerful transit because the Sun is in full dignity here, bringing its natural qualities of authority, clarity, and illumination to your financial matters and family interactions. The presence of Ketu alongside the Sun in Leo adds a spiritual, detached, and sometimes confusing energy to these themes. While you may feel motivated to assert control over money and possessions, Ketu's influence could simultaneously make you question the importance of material accumulation, leading to inner conflict between worldly gains and spiritual values. It will be essential to find a balanced approach so that you neither lose sight of your practical needs nor ignore the deeper meaning behind your efforts. The conjunction of Sun and Ketu in your 2nd house can sometimes bring a sense of detachment from family ties or cause temporary misunderstandings with relatives, particularly with father figures or elder members of the family. Ketu's shadowy influence may also create situations where family expectations clash with your own principles, pushing you toward introspection and self-awareness. If you are in the middle of important family decisions, such as property matters or inheritance issues, you may notice delays, unclear communication, or sudden changes in plans. At the same time, Ketu can help you break free from unhealthy financial or familial attachments, enabling you to operate from a place of independence rather than dependence on others' approval. Financially, this transit can be a mixed period. On one hand, the Sun in its own sign strengthens your willpower and leadership in money-related matters, giving you the courage to take decisive steps in investments, savings, and long-term wealth creation. You may attract opportunities for earning through positions of authority, government-related work, or businesses that rely on your expertise and confidence. On the other hand, Ketu's influence could create sudden and unpredictable expenses or make you less interested in accumulating wealth, especially if you begin to see money as a transient possession. Careful planning is essential. Avoid impulsive financial decisions, and double-check agreements before making commitments. The total lunar eclipse on September 7th in Aquarius falls in your 8th house, where the moon will join Rahu. This is a highly transformative event for you because the 8th house governs joint finances, inheritances, debts, loans, and deeply hidden psychological patterns. Eclipses tend to bring sudden revelations, and this one may uncover information about a partner's finances, tax matters, or pending joint investments. It could also trigger shifts in your emotional security, urging you to let go of old fears or patterns that keep you dependent on others for stability. Since the 8th house also represents hidden health issues, it is advisable to be mindful of diet, lifestyle, and stress levels during this time. Because this eclipse directly links your financial houses, 2nd and 8th, it may mark a turning point in how you handle both personal and shared resources. The planetary movements of Mercury and Venus will also strongly influence this period. Mercury, your 3rd and 12th lord, will begin in Cancer, your 1st house, enhancing your communication skills and personal charm in the early part of the transit. On August 30th, Mercury enters Leo, joining the Sun and Ketu in your second house. This can bring an analytical approach to money matters, help in negotiating contracts, or spark conversations about family values. Mercury here can also amplify Ketu's tendency toward overthinking or miscommunication, so you must ensure clarity in all discussions involving money or property. Then, on September 15th, Mercury enters Virgo, its exaltation sign in your third house, where it becomes highly beneficial for networking, marketing, short travels, and intellectual pursuits. This shift will feel like a breath of fresh air after the somewhat confusing period of Mercury with Ketu, helping you implement ideas with greater precision. Venus, your 4th and 11th lord, is another major player during this transit. Starting in Gemini alongside Jupiter, Venus brings a pleasant energy to your 12th house, indicating spiritual reflection, foreign connections, or behind-the-scenes work. On August 21st, Venus enters Cancer, your first house, blessing you with charm, grace, and an attractive aura. This is a great time for self-care, artistic expression, and improving personal image. By September 15th, Venus moves into Leo, joining the Sun and Ketu in your second house, which can beautify your speech and bring opportunities to earn through creative, artistic, or luxury-related avenues. With Ketu present, you may experience moments of feeling emotionally detached even while surrounded by comfort and beauty, prompting you to look beyond appearances and focus on genuine emotional connections. Your chart ruler, the Moon, will be directly impacted by the lunar eclipse on September 7th. This can cause fluctuations in emotions, particularly related to trust in relationships and financial partnerships. It is important to keep your emotional balance and avoid making hasty decisions during the eclipse window. The days surrounding the eclipse can also be ideal for releasing negative emotional baggage and adopting healthier patterns in both your financial and personal life. On a deeper level, the Sun-Ketu combination in your second house during this period may inspire you to reconsider what security truly means. You might feel drawn toward minimalism or simplifying your lifestyle, realizing that your worth is not solely defined by possessions. At the same time, you will likely gain more clarity about the people you can truly rely on, as this transit tends to expose superficial or transactional relationships. From a career standpoint, while the second house is not directly about profession, the Sun's strength here can indirectly benefit your work by improving your confidence, public speaking skills, and decision-making ability. You may find that your words carry more authority, making this a good time to pitch ideas, lead meetings, or negotiate deals. Avoid sounding overly rigid or self-centered, as the Sun in Leo can sometimes create a strong ego presence, and Ketu's influence may make others feel you are distant or uninterested in their perspectives. In terms of health, pay attention to your diet, throat, and dental health, as the second house is associated with the mouth and eating habits. Since Ketu can sometimes cause irregular appetite or changes in taste, make sure your meals are balanced and nourishing. Irregular eating patterns may also surface, so maintaining discipline will help. Overall, this Sun transit in Leo for Cancer individuals is a significant period for redefining values, strengthening financial strategies, and deepening your sense of self-worth. While the Sun's strength here brings power and authority, Ketu's influence will challenge you to not get too attached to the material side of life. The lunar eclipse in your 8th house acts as a catalyst for transformation, making this a month where you can let go of old limitations and step into a more empowered, balanced way of living. By embracing both the worldly and spiritual lessons of this transit, you can come out of this period with greater clarity, stability, and inner peace. For Leo, this Sun transit is a period of heightened self-focus and strong emphasis on personal expression, as the Sun, your ruling planet, moves through your own sign. Since the Sun governs your first house of self, personality, physical vitality, and overall direction in life, its transit here generally brings a renewed sense of confidence, authority, and clarity about where you stand. This year's transit comes with a unique twist. The Sun will conjunct Ketu in Leo, which adds a strong spiritual, introspective, and even detached tone to what would normally be a highly empowering period. This means that while you may feel a surge of personal power, recognition, or the urge to lead, there will also be an undercurrent of questioning your true identity and purpose. You may feel a mix of pride and humility, ambition and detachment, as if part of you wants to step into the spotlight, while another part prefers to step back and watch from a distance. This balance between self-assertion and self-discovery will define much of this period. The presence of Ketu alongside the Sun can sometimes make you more introspective about your role in life. You may feel an urge to reassess your image, lifestyle, or the way others perceive you. There could be moments when you become more conscious of your flaws, or perhaps less interested in maintaining an image for the sake of appearances. Ketu's energy can detach you from ego-driven pursuits, and you might find yourself drawn towards self-improvement that focuses less on external praise and more on inner alignment. This can be an excellent time to work on personal growth, meditation, spiritual disciplines, or simply taking time to understand your deeper motivations. In worldly matters, this conjunction can sometimes blur your clarity in decision-making, especially regarding career moves or public interactions, so patience and self-reflection will be key. Adding to the intensity, the total lunar eclipse on September 7th will occur in your 7th house of partnerships in Aquarius, with the moon conjunct Rahu. This lunar eclipse will shine a light on your relationships, contracts, and important one-to-one interactions. It could bring sudden revelations or shifts in partnerships, whether personal or professional. For some, this may be a time when you realize certain connections no longer align with your life path, while others may find a relationship suddenly deepening or changing in dynamic. Because this eclipse involves Rahu, the changes can be unexpected, fast-paced, and potentially a little unsettling, but they are likely meant to steer you towards partnerships that better reflect your evolving sense of self. This is especially significant because the Sun Ketu in your 1st house directly opposes the Moon, Rahu in your 7th, creating a strong focus on balancing self-priorities with relationship needs. Your ruling planet, the Sun, is not the only influence here. Mercury, the planet of intellect, communication, and decision-making, will be moving through a rapid sequence of signs. Currently in Cancer, Mercury will enter Leo on August 30th, joining the Sun and Ketu in your 1st house. This will sharpen your mind and give you greater clarity of thought. But since it's conjoined Ketu, you may also be more philosophical and less concerned with trivial matters. Communication may be more impactful during this period, and your words can carry weight, but you'll need to ensure you don't come across as too blunt or detached. Then, on September 15th, Mercury enters Virgo, its exaltation sign, moving into your 2nd house of speech, values, and finances. This is likely to bring a noticeable improvement in your ability to articulate ideas, negotiate deals, and make sound financial decisions. Venus, your 10th and 3rd lord, is currently transiting Gemini with Jupiter, activating your 11th house of gains, networking, and aspirations. This is a socially supportive influence, helping you connect with influential people and possibly opening doors for new opportunities. On August 21st, Venus enters Cancer, your 12th house, which can bring a temporary phase of quiet reflection in your career or personal life. You might prefer to work behind the scenes, travel for spiritual reasons, or engage in more private creative pursuits. Then, on September 15th, Venus moves into Leo, joining the Sun and Ketu in your 1st house. This will enhance your charm, social appeal, and ability to attract positive attention. But again, the Ketu influence could mean you are less concerned with outward beauty and more focused on authentic self-expression. It's an interesting mix of attraction and detachment, which could confuse others but ultimately draw the right kind of people towards you. Physically, this transit can be energizing, especially for your vitality and confidence levels, but it also calls for balance. With Ketu involved, there is a chance you may neglect self-care in favor of mental or spiritual pursuits, so it's important to maintain a healthy routine. Eating well, exercising regularly, and taking care of your appearance can keep you grounded while your mind navigates deeper inner processes. Since the Sun rules vitality for you, any eclipses or Ketu conjunctions can temporarily lower energy, so rest is important during the days around September 7th. Career-wise, this is a period where leadership opportunities can arise, but they may also come with the responsibility of redefining your role or public image. If you're self-employed, you might feel drawn to reinvent your business or brand in a way that reflects more of your authentic self. If you work for others, you could be given a project or role that demands more personal accountability. The Ketu factor means that while recognition is possible, you may also be less attached to praise or titles than usual. In fact, you might even question whether certain achievements are worth pursuing if they don't align with your deeper sense of purpose. Relationships, both romantic and professional, will require careful navigation during this transit. The eclipse energy can highlight imbalances or unresolved issues, and the Sun Ketu in your sign may make you more self-reliant or less willing to compromise. While this can help you stand your ground, it's important to ensure you're not closing yourself off emotionally. If a relationship feels restrictive or misaligned, this could be a turning point for reevaluating its place in your life. On the positive side, if you've been feeling undervalued, this is your time to express your truth and set healthier boundaries. The Sun-Ketu combination in your 1st house can awaken a deep desire for liberation from ego-driven patterns. You may feel a pull towards meditation, philosophy, ancient wisdom, or practices that help you detach from material distractions. If you've been on a spiritual path already, this period could mark an important milestone or breakthrough in understanding your soul's journey. Overall, this Sun transit in your sign is both empowering and humbling. It brings the light of self-awareness but also the shadow of detachment, urging you to find balance between worldly ambitions and inner fulfillment. The eclipse across your 1st and 7th houses will shake up how you see yourself in relation to others, potentially leading to significant changes in partnerships. With Mercury and Venus both joining your sign during this time, your charisma, intelligence, and ability to influence others will be strong, but their impact will be most rewarding when directed towards genuine, purposeful goals rather than surface-level achievements. For Virgo, the Sun governs your 12th house of losses, foreign lands, spirituality, seclusion, sleep patterns, expenses, and liberation, and during this transit, it moves through Leo, its own sign, activating the most private and subconscious part of your chart. The 12th house is not only about endings, but also about inner growth and transcendence. And with the Sun being strong in its own sign, there is potential for deep self-reflection and a renewed focus on your inner world. This time is not without its complications, as the Sun will be closely conjunct Ketu in Leo, bringing a karmic and spiritual undertone to this period. This alignment often encourages detachment from worldly distractions and can push you toward a period of withdrawal, whether voluntary or circumstantial. You may find yourself feeling less connected to the material race and more inclined to explore your own inner truth. In practical terms, this transit can create scenarios where you need to let go of certain responsibilities, relationships, or patterns that no longer align with your deeper purpose. The presence of Ketu with the Sun in the 12th can create some confusion in your sense of identity and self-worth. At times, you might feel invisible or unacknowledged, even if you are doing important work behind the scenes. The ego may take a backseat, and this can be both liberating and unsettling, depending on your attachment to recognition. The Sun here is like a light in a hidden room. It doesn't shine outward for the world to see, but instead illuminates corners of your subconscious that you have long ignored. Some Virgos may find this is an ideal period to go on a spiritual retreat, take a break from their routine, or simply invest more time in rest and introspection. You might feel drawn to spiritual studies, meditation, or practices that help you reconnect with your soul rather than your outer identity. The total lunar eclipse on September 7th, taking place in Aquarius with the Moon and Rahu in your 6th house, will further amplify themes of health, daily work, service, and conflicts. Since this eclipse will form an axis between your 12th house Sun Ketu and your 6th house Moon Rahu, it is likely to trigger situations where you must release unproductive habits and address unresolved issues in your work or health. For some, there could be sudden changes in employment or work environments, or situations that force you to confront hidden enemies, whether in professional or personal life. The 6th to 12th axis is also heavily linked to mental health, so maintaining balance in your thoughts, practicing self-care, and not letting anxiety take over will be essential. This eclipse could serve as a wake-up call to reorganize your lifestyle, eliminate toxic influences, and embrace healthier patterns. Your chart ruler, Mercury, is currently transiting Cancer and will enter Leo on August 30th, joining the Sun and Ketu in your 12th house. This will make your thoughts more inward-focused, and you might find yourself reflecting on the past, revisiting old memories, and processing unspoken emotions. Communication may be more private, with many of your decisions and plans kept to yourself. When Mercury moves into Virgo, its exaltation sign, on September 15th, there will be a significant mental clarity shift for you. This change happens toward the end of the transit period, allowing you to make sense of all the introspection and lessons from the past weeks. Mercury exalted in your 1st house will give you renewed confidence, sharper intellect, and the ability to take decisive action after a period of uncertainty. Financially, because the 12th house deals with expenses and losses, this period calls for careful budgeting. You may face unexpected costs, possibly related to travel, medical expenses, or family matters. At the same time, there might be opportunities to spend on spiritual or self-development pursuits, which can be worthwhile if chosen wisely. Ketu's influence suggests that spending money for ego-driven reasons will not bring satisfaction, but expenses that contribute to inner peace and growth will feel more fulfilling. If you are involved in international business, foreign collaborations, or charitable organizations, this transit could open doors for meaningful work, though profits might be delayed or less tangible in the short term. On the personal front, you might feel the need for more solitude than usual. Relationships could undergo a subtle shift, as you may pull away from social obligations and spend more time in quiet environments. This is not necessarily negative. It's a natural cycle of recharging your emotional batteries. Your partner or close ones may misinterpret this as disinterest, so clear communication is essential to avoid misunderstandings. If single, you might not be actively pursuing romance right now, preferring instead to heal from past connections or focus on self-improvement. Health-wise, the Sun in the 12th emphasizes the importance of rest and avoiding overexertion. You may feel drained more easily during this time, so it is important to listen to your body and get adequate sleep. Ketu's influence might make you ignore small symptoms, so pay attention to your health and seek timely medical advice if needed. The lunar eclipse on September 7th could also highlight stress-related concerns, so maintaining a disciplined routine and balancing work with relaxation will help keep you in good shape. The spiritual energy during this period is exceptionally strong for Virgos. If you have been feeling a sense of emptiness or questioning the purpose of your daily struggles, the Sun-Ketu combination in the 12th can provide profound insights. This is a time to trust the unseen, to accept that not all progress is visible, and to cultivate faith in your journey. Dreams and intuitions may be stronger, so paying attention to your inner guidance can be deeply rewarding. Some of you may even have encounters or situations that feel karmic, reminding you of the bigger picture beyond material concerns. By the time the Sun completes its transit in Leo, you are likely to emerge with a lighter heart, a clearer mind, and a better understanding of what truly matters to you. The introspection you undergo now will set the stage for more confident and purposeful action once the Sun enters Virgo and Mercury becomes exalted in your sign. Think of this as a necessary pause, a period of inward recalibration that allows you to shed outdated layers and prepare for the next chapter with renewed energy. While the outside world may see little of your internal process, the transformations happening within will shape your future in ways that will become evident in the months to come. For Libra, the Sun's transit through Leo will strongly activate your 11th house of gains, ambitions, networks, and fulfillment of desires. The Sun is moving through its own sign, bringing an intensified focus on the themes of recognition, success, and the achievement of long-term goals. This year's transit is unique because the Sun will be conjunct Ketu in Leo, creating an unusual combination of ambition and detachment. While on one hand you may find opportunities to shine within your social or professional circles, on the other hand, Ketu's influence may cause moments of disinterest or even sudden disconnection from certain friendships, groups, or aspirations. This paradox can feel confusing. Your mind may be pulled toward chasing success, yet part of you may begin questioning whether the goals you've been pursuing truly matter to you in the long run. The presence of Ketu in the 11th house alongside the Sun often brings a karmic clearing of social networks. You might notice that some relationships or alliances that seemed beneficial in the past now appear to be holding you back. Certain associations may fade away, and while at first this can feel like a loss, it is ultimately paving the way for more authentic connections. The 11th house also governs your larger dreams for the future, so you may experience a shift in your aspirations. Old ambitions may no longer excite you, and a new vision may begin to take form. Since the Sun also represents your self-esteem and public image, there could be instances during this period when your confidence fluctuates, especially if recognition from your peers is less than expected. This is also an opportunity to focus on self-validation rather than depending solely on external approval. Adding to this intensity is the total lunar eclipse on September 7th, taking place in Aquarius in your 5th house, where the moon will be joined with Rahu. This eclipse will directly oppose the Sun-Ketu conjunction in Leo, creating a strong activation of the 5th to 11th house axis. The balance between personal creativity, romance, and children, 5th house, versus larger social obligations, networks, and ambitions, 11th house. Eclipses are known for revealing truths and clearing out situations that no longer serve your growth, and here it may bring dramatic changes in your love life, your friendships, or your relationship with your children. You may discover hidden information about a romantic partner or realize that certain friendships are not as supportive as they seemed. On the positive side, this eclipse could suddenly open doors to unexpected opportunities in creativity, social influence, or recognition for your talents. Venus, your sign lord, plays a critical role in this period. Currently transiting Gemini along with Jupiter, Venus is activating your 9th house of higher learning, spiritual growth, and long-distance travel. This alignment can bring beneficial connections with mentors, opportunities for travel, or a chance to expand your knowledge. On August 21st, Venus enters Cancer, your 10th house of career and reputation, which will shift the focus toward professional achievements. This placement can bring charm, diplomacy, and a cooperative spirit in career dealings. Between August 21st and September 15th, you may find that career-related efforts are rewarded, especially if you work in creative, artistic, or public-facing roles. When Venus enters Leo on September 15th, joining the Sun and Ketu in your 11th house, there can be a heightened focus on love within friendships, collaborations, and group settings. Because Ketu is present, there may also be an emotional detachment in your interactions, leading you to filter out relationships that are superficial or transactional. Mars, the ruler of your 7th and 2nd houses, is currently in Virgo, activating your 12th house until September 13th. This placement may bring hidden expenses, a desire for solitude, or a need to work behind the scenes on certain projects. You may feel more introspective and less inclined to engage in public activities during this time. On September 13th, Mars enters Libra, your 1st house, marking a significant boost in personal drive, confidence, and assertiveness. This shift can make you more visible, motivated, and ready to take charge of situations in both your personal and professional life. It is also a period when your leadership skills can shine, but you must balance assertiveness with diplomacy to avoid conflicts. The Sun's transit through Leo is generally considered auspicious for Libra individuals because it brings a focus on gains and recognition, but with Ketu involved, the rewards may not always be tangible or immediate. Some of your efforts may feel underappreciated, or the results may be delayed. This is not a time to measure your success purely in material terms. Instead, it is a period to refine your long-term vision and align your social and professional circles with your deeper values. Networking can still be fruitful, but the key is to seek quality over quantity. Surround yourself with people who genuinely support your growth rather than those who simply add to your contact list. Financially, this transit can bring mixed results. The 11th house is a house of gains, and the Sun here can bring opportunities for monetary benefits, bonuses, or the completion of a profitable deal. With Ketu present, there may be unpredictability in income. Some gains could come in unexpectedly, while other expected payments may be delayed or reduced. If you are involved in group ventures, partnerships, or investments, make sure to double-check agreements and avoid overestimating profits. Since the lunar eclipse will impact your 5th house, speculative investments, especially in shares, lottery, or high-risk ventures, should be approached with caution during this period. On a personal level, this transit can bring moments of introspection about your role in the community and the type of legacy you want to create. You may find yourself more interested in purposeful work, charity, or contributing to causes that align with your values. The combination of Sun-Ketu can sometimes bring a desire to step back from the spotlight, even as opportunities for recognition arise. If you feel the urge to retreat from certain social obligations, honor that instinct. This is a time when the quality of your connections matters far more than public appearances. Romantic life may be influenced by the eclipse energy. Some Libra individuals may experience unexpected developments in their love life. For singles, a sudden attraction could emerge through social events or mutual friends, but it may come with complexities. For those already in a relationship, balancing personal needs with social obligations may be challenging. The period around the eclipse may bring clarity about whether your romantic life is aligned with your long-term vision. Overall, the Sun's transit in Leo for Libra individuals in 2025 is a blend of ambition, karmic shifts, and self-discovery. It's a time to refine your goals, release outdated connections, and focus on authentic success. While external recognition and gains are possible, the deeper reward lies in aligning your social networks and long-term aspirations with your inner truth. By the end of this transit, you may feel lighter, more focused, and better prepared to pursue ambitions that truly inspire you, rather than those dictated by social expectations. For Scorpio, the Sun governs the 10th house of career, profession, public image, authority, and one's contribution to society. This transit of the Sun into its own sign Leo, which is also your 10th house, is one of the most important periods of the year for your professional and social standing. The Sun gains strength in its own sign, often enhancing recognition, confidence, and leadership qualities. This year, the Sun will be conjunct Ketu in Leo, adding a complex layer to the otherwise vibrant influence. Ketu tends to bring detachment, introspection, and an unconventional approach, which may create moments of internal conflict about your professional path. You might feel a pull between actively pursuing recognition and stepping away from the limelight. This can be a time of rethinking your long-term goals and your role in the public eye. The presence of Ketu suggests that while career growth is possible, you may also feel less attached to external validation and more inclined to focus on deeper purpose and satisfaction. The energy is further intensified by the total lunar eclipse on September 7th in Aquarius, your 4th house, where the moon will be joined with Rahu. This eclipse will create a direct push and pull between your professional ambitions and your personal life or emotional security. You may find that career demands conflict with family needs, domestic responsibilities, or the desire for peace and stability at home. Eclipses often bring sudden developments or revelations, so you might receive unexpected news regarding your career direction, workplace changes, or even shifts in your living environment. The Rahu influence in the 4th house can stir restlessness at home, prompting you to consider relocation, renovation, or changes in your personal space to align better with your evolving career path. Balancing the public and private spheres will be a key challenge during this transit. Your ruling planet Mars is currently transiting Virgo, your 11th house, bringing focus on networking, social circles, and long-term goals. This placement of Mars can push you toward building connections and actively participating in group projects or community endeavors. Mars will enter Libra, your 12th house, on September 13th, which will shift your energy toward more introspective, behind-the-scenes work. This transition means that while the early part of this Sun transit might be filled with active social engagement and pursuit of professional gains, Later in the period, you may prefer working quietly, strategizing, or even planning for future projects away from public view. Mars in the 12th can also increase expenses, particularly on travel, spiritual activities, or projects abroad, so careful financial management is advised. In your career, this period can bring opportunities for recognition and advancement, especially if you have been consistently putting in effort. The Sun in the 10th is known for boosting one's visibility, so it is possible that your work gets noticed by higher authorities or influential people. Ketu's presence can make you feel less enthusiastic about power or position unless it resonates with your inner values. Some Scorpio individuals may even consider a change in career direction, leaving behind roles that feel unfulfilling or that no longer align with personal growth. For those in creative, spiritual, or service-oriented professions, this can be a highly fruitful time, as Ketu in the 10th can push you toward more meaningful, purpose-driven work. Relationships with authority figures, bosses, or people in positions of power can be highlighted now. The Sun's transit may bring both appreciation and friction depending on how you handle ego clashes and leadership responsibilities. This is not the time to get involved in unnecessary conflicts at the workplace, as both Sun and Ketu can create moments of pride or miscommunication. Instead, maintaining humility while demonstrating capability will yield better results. The period between August 30th and September 15th, when Mercury transits Leo alongside the Sun and Ketu, will be especially significant for career-related communication, negotiations, and decision-making. You may need to be precise and diplomatic in your words to avoid misunderstandings. The eclipse energy also has a financial angle for you, as the 4th house is connected to property, real estate, and emotional resources, while the 10th house relates to income through profession. Some Scorpio individuals might see changes in their income stream or professional responsibilities due to shifting priorities at home. For those involved in family businesses or careers linked to real estate, government, or large organizations, this period can bring both opportunities and sudden disruptions. The advice here is to avoid making major career or property decisions during the eclipse window, as clarity returns only a couple of weeks later. On a personal growth level, the Sun-Ketu combination in your 10th house can spark questions about your true calling. You may begin to detach from career paths driven solely by material rewards and instead search for roles where you can contribute meaningfully to others. This could involve a shift toward mentoring, humanitarian causes, or integrating your work with your spiritual beliefs. At times, you may feel a temporary lack of motivation or confusion about your next step, but this is part of a larger process of aligning your external work with your internal truth. Health-wise, the focus on the 10th and 4th axis suggests you must manage stress effectively. Work pressures combined with emotional fluctuations brought by the eclipse could take a toll if not balanced with self-care. Rest, healthy routines, and avoiding overcommitment will help maintain stability. If you have been ignoring health issues due to professional demands, this is the time to address them before they escalate. As Mars, your ruler, moves into the 12th house mid-transit, you may feel the urge to slow down, reflect, and work more independently. This is an excellent time for spiritual retreats, research, or working on confidential projects that require focus away from distractions. It may also be a good period to let go of unnecessary baggage, whether in terms of habits, commitments, or outdated professional goals. Overall, this Sun transit for Scorpio people is about redefining your relationship with your career, authority, and public image. It can bring recognition and progress, but also moments of detachment that push you to think deeply about your true professional purpose. The presence of Ketu means you cannot rely solely on external rewards for fulfillment. You must seek work that aligns with your deeper values. The eclipse on September 7th will highlight the need to balance home life and career, possibly bringing events that accelerate decisions in both areas. By the time Mars enters Libra, you will likely be preparing for a quieter, more strategic phase, using the insights gained during this transit to shape your long-term path. If handled with self-awareness, this period can mark the beginning of a more purposeful and balanced professional journey. For Sagittarius, the Sun, which governs your 9th house of higher learning, long journeys, spiritual wisdom, luck, and blessings from teachers and mentors, will be transiting through its own sign Leo, occupying your 9th house. This period holds special importance because the Sun will be joined by Ketu in Leo, creating a Sun-Ketu conjunction that can deeply influence your philosophical outlook, belief systems, and personal growth. Since this is happening in a Dharma house, the focus will be on life purpose, moral principles, and how you relate to truth and justice. With Ketu involved, there may be a sense of detachment, disillusionment, or a desire to redefine your spiritual path. The 9th house is also associated with fortune, so you may notice fluctuations in luck and external support, especially if your birth chart has sensitive points in this sector. Ketu's presence with the Sun can make you question traditional teachings or long-held beliefs. You may feel less inspired by conventional religious or philosophical systems, instead seeking more personal or mystical experiences. While this can lead to powerful spiritual revelations, it may also create confusion if you feel disconnected from your usual sources of guidance. The influence of Ketu can sometimes obscure the clarity of the sun, making it harder to feel a sense of direction, but at the same time, it can bring you closer to truths that go beyond material understanding. Your relationship with mentors, guides, or fatherly figures may undergo changes, either due to physical distance, differences in ideology, or a need for independence in your learning journey. During this transit, Jupiter, your ruling planet, will be in Gemini. This alignment highlights the importance of partnerships, collaborations, and one-on-one interactions in shaping your worldview. People you meet during this time may challenge your perspective, introduce you to new cultural or intellectual concepts, or influence your decision-making in travel, education, or spiritual matters. At the same time, Jupiter in the 7th can bring beneficial alliances that help you navigate the shifts caused by the Sun-Ketu conjunction. This combination may also indicate that a partner's opinions or circumstances could play a major role in your own beliefs and decisions during this period. The total lunar eclipse on September 7, 2025, in Aquarius, will occur in your 3rd house, with the moon joining Rahu. This eclipse brings a surge of mental energy and can shake up your communication patterns, daily interactions, and learning style. The 3rd house is connected with siblings, short trips, and skill building, so you may experience sudden developments in these areas. It can bring unexpected news or cause you to rethink the way you express your ideas. This period may accelerate the transformation of your mental and spiritual outlook, pushing you to let go of outdated thinking and adopt a more flexible, yet deeper, perspective. Because eclipses can bring uncertainty and emotional intensity, it's best to avoid making impulsive decisions in the eclipse season. This period may also be significant for higher education and long-distance travel. If you are pursuing studies, you might feel the need to change your subject of interest, shift academic institutions, or seek alternative forms of learning that better align with your deeper goals. If travel is on the agenda, it may have a strong spiritual or transformative purpose, but there could also be unexpected changes in plans due to Ketu's influence. Spiritual pilgrimages or visits to sacred sites could be especially meaningful, though you may approach them with a more questioning mind than before. Career-wise, the Sun as the 9th Lord transiting the 9th house often brings opportunities through foreign connections, higher learning, and influential people. You may receive guidance from a senior figure or come across new professional opportunities linked to education, law, publishing, or travel-related industries. Because Ketu is involved, these opportunities may come in unconventional ways, or they might require you to step away from rigid structures to embrace a more fluid approach. Your own sense of ethics and integrity will play a major role in the choices you make now. On the personal front, relationships with father, teachers, or spiritual guides might feel less predictable. Differences in philosophy could lead to distance or temporary misunderstandings. This space can help you grow more self-reliant in your understanding of life's bigger questions. If you have been too dependent on external validation in your spiritual or moral path, this is a time when the universe may nudge you towards self-discovery. Since the Sun is strong in its own sign, your confidence and leadership qualities can shine during this time, even if you feel internally contemplative. You may take on a more visible role in guiding others or sharing knowledge, particularly in settings that involve teaching, advising, or community leadership. Still, with Ketu present, you might prefer to influence from behind the scenes or focus on quality over quantity in your interactions. Health-wise, the 9th house is linked to the hips, thighs, and liver. Since the Sun governs vitality and Ketu can create imbalances, maintaining a healthy diet and active lifestyle is important. If you are traveling, take precautions with food and water intake to avoid digestive issues. Mental well-being also matters here. Spiritual questioning can sometimes bring temporary restlessness or lack of clarity, so grounding practices such as meditation, journaling, or mindful physical activity can be especially beneficial. Financially, the 9th house can bring gains through international connections, academic pursuits, or guidance from senior figures. There may also be expenses related to travel, education, or spiritual activities. Some Sagittarius individuals may find themselves investing in courses, mentorship programs, or cultural exploration. While these can be enriching experiences, it's wise to ensure they align with your long-term goals and values. Overall, this Sun transit in Leo for Sagittarius people is a period of philosophical transformation, deeper questioning, and spiritual awakening. With Ketu involved, the focus shifts from blindly following external authority to discovering your own truth. The lunar eclipse in Aquarius acts as a catalyst for changing how you think and communicate, pushing you toward greater authenticity in both speech and action. While some moments may feel uncertain, the changes that occur now can ultimately help you align more closely with your life's true path. Your challenge will be to balance openness to new perspectives with faith in your own inner compass, allowing this period to shape not just your beliefs, but your entire outlook on life. For Capricorn, the Sun governs the 8th house, a sector linked to transformation, hidden matters, shared resources, sudden events, deep psychological processes, research, and the mysterious aspects of life. During this transit, the Sun moves through Leo, its own sign, bringing its royal, authoritative, and illuminating qualities into the sphere of your 8th house affairs. This period gains further complexity and intensity because the Sun is conjoining Ketu in Leo, which can create a mix of enlightenment and detachment in these areas. The Sun in Leo is powerful, but when it shares space with Ketu, there can be both revelations and withdrawals, a phase where you may gain profound understanding but also feel a lack of clarity in practical matters. The 8th house is naturally a challenging zone, often linked to karmic debts, past life influences, and experiences that push you toward transformation. With the Sun transiting here, many Capricorn individuals will find themselves drawn to deeper truths, perhaps uncovering hidden aspects of situations or of themselves. This can manifest as an increased interest in occult sciences, astrology, psychology, healing, or research. For some, this period may bring financial matters involving joint assets, inheritance, taxes, insurance, or loans into focus. While the Sun illuminates these subjects, Ketu's influence may cause some uncertainty, delays, or a sense of detachment from material expectations. You might work on such issues but without strong emotional investment, approaching them from a detached, analytical standpoint. The total lunar eclipse on September 7th in Aquarius, in your 2nd house of wealth, family, and speech, will directly interact with this transit. With the Moon and Rahu in Aquarius, there may be unexpected developments in financial matters, particularly in the way your personal resources connect with shared finances. You may need to reassess your earning strategies, adjust your budget, or handle sudden expenses. This eclipse energy can also bring changes in family dynamics, especially those related to inheritance or ancestral property. Conversations within the family might be intense, requiring you to remain calm and avoid impulsive statements. Since the Sun-Ketu conjunction is already affecting your 8th house, this eclipse could act as a trigger for major financial or emotional realignments. Saturn, your chart ruler, is currently retrograding in Pisces, your 3rd house of communication, courage, and skills. This retrograde phase adds a karmic undertone to your efforts, asking you to revisit past actions, reevaluate your decision-making process, and strengthen your communication skills. The connection between Saturn's retrograde and the Sun's transit through your 8th house suggests that the insights you gain now can reshape how you approach your personal power and influence. You may feel the need to take calculated risks, but Saturn's backward motion will keep urging you toward caution and thorough planning. On a psychological level, this Sun-Ketu transit may prompt a deeper inward journey. You might feel moments of disconnection from worldly ambitions, instead reflecting on life's transient nature. While some Capricorn individuals may initially find this detachment unsettling, it is in fact an opportunity for spiritual growth. You may come across knowledge or mentors who guide you toward a more soul-centered path. Dreams may become vivid and symbolic, offering clues to unresolved subconscious patterns. Practices like meditation, healing, or journaling could be particularly beneficial during this time, helping you integrate the profound insights you receive. In professional matters, the Sun's link to your 8th house may bring changes in the structure of your work environment. You might be entrusted with confidential projects or sensitive information, or be involved in behind-the-scenes negotiations. For some, this could be a time of change in leadership or management, which indirectly affects your role. Since the 8th house is associated with joint ventures, collaborations may require renegotiation of terms. Ketu's involvement warns against trusting blindly. Verify all facts and ensure that agreements are transparent. Financially, this is a period to be vigilant. Joint financial ventures could face slowdowns, and unexpected expenses are possible. Insurance, taxes, or debts might need attention. While you may be tempted to take bold steps to improve your resources, Saturn's retrograde and Ketu's influence advise caution. Avoid speculative ventures or high-risk investments. Instead, focus on long-term stability and clearing any pending liabilities. This transit can also highlight the value of non-material wealth, such as knowledge, connections, and emotional resilience. Relationships during this transit can experience subtle shifts. The Sun-Ketu conjunction may make you more introspective and less expressive in personal interactions. Your partner or close associates might notice a temporary withdrawal or a more serious demeanor. This is not necessarily negative. It can be a time for building deeper trust and understanding, especially if you openly communicate your current need for reflection. For those dealing with joint property, inheritance discussions, or family business matters, maintaining transparency will prevent misunderstandings. Health-wise, the 8th house transit requires attention to stress management, reproductive health, and overall vitality. Since the Sun represents your vitality and Ketu can scatter energy, there might be phases of fatigue or fluctuating enthusiasm. Adequate rest, balanced nutrition, and grounding practices will help you maintain stability. Detoxifying diets, healing therapies, or exercise routines can be especially supportive now. Sun in its own sign in your 8th house, combined with Ketu's presence, can open the door to profound inner awakening. You might feel drawn to ancient wisdom, mystical philosophies, or past life healing work. Encounters with spiritually evolved individuals or teachers could change your perspective in significant ways. If you have been holding on to old fears or grudges, this period supports their release, helping you step into a freer and more empowered state of being. As Mercury moves from Cancer to Leo on August 30th and later to Virgo, its exaltation sign, on September 15th, communication regarding 8th house matters will improve toward the end of the transit. You may gain clarity about financial arrangements, legal paperwork, or long-term investments. Venus's movements during this period, although not directly aspecting your 8th house, will still influence your interactions and the way you express care in relationships, especially when it enters Leo on September 15th, softening the more detached energy of Ketu. Overall, this Sun transit through Leo is not merely a time of endings, but also of revelations and deep internal change for Capricorn people. While the presence of Ketu can initially create confusion or detachment, it is ultimately a spiritual purifier, removing unnecessary attachments and helping you see beyond surface realities. The total lunar eclipse will act as a turning point, particularly in financial and family matters, urging you to reassess priorities. With patience, mindfulness, and a willingness to explore the hidden layers of life, this transit can mark a period of powerful self-discovery and renewal. For Aquarius, the transit of the Sun through its own sign Leo is a significant phase because the Sun governs your 7th house of marriage, partnerships, contracts, and public dealings. This year's transit is even more potent because it comes with a Sun-Ketu conjunction in Leo, which brings a karmic and somewhat spiritual undertone to your relationships. The total lunar eclipse on September 7th in your own sign Aquarius, where the moon will be conjunct Rahu, signals an intense culmination or turning point in personal and partnership matters. Saturn, your ruling planet, is currently retrograding in Pisces in your 2nd house of wealth, values, and family resources, adding a reflective and reassessing tone to matters concerning your commitments. All of these influences combine to create a period where you may undergo important realizations about how you connect with others, what you expect from your relationships, and what you are truly willing to give in return. Because the Sun rules your 7th house, its transit in Leo naturally shifts your focus toward partnerships of all kinds, be it marriage, long-term romantic commitments, business associations, or client interactions. The 7th house also represents how you are perceived in the public sphere, so this period can bring you into the spotlight. But with Ketu involved, that spotlight may feel different from usual. You might experience scenarios where you are recognized for your qualities but simultaneously feel a pull toward privacy or a reduced desire for public attention. Ketu's influence here can cause you to detach emotionally from certain partnerships or see them in a more philosophical light. In relationships, you may be reevaluating not just who you are with, but why you are with them, and whether the connection aligns with your deeper life path. Some Aquarians may even feel less concerned with maintaining appearances and more focused on authenticity. The Sun-Ketu conjunction also has a way of exposing hidden truths within your partnerships. This could mean discovering more about your partner's thoughts, values, or motives, or uncovering unspoken dynamics that have been quietly influencing the relationship. In business alliances, you may find that certain contracts or collaborations are no longer serving their original purpose, and you may feel guided to either transform them or move on entirely. Since Ketu is linked with karmic lessons, this period might bring back themes from past partnerships, giving you a chance to resolve unfinished business. While such developments may seem challenging at first, they are meant to help you clear any stagnant or inauthentic connections so you can create space for more aligned relationships in the future. The total lunar eclipse on September 7th in your sign Aquarius adds another layer of intensity. An eclipse in your 1st house is deeply personal. It can signify a chapter ending in the way you view yourself, your identity, and your role in relationships. Because the moon will be conjunct Rahu, emotions can run high, and you may feel a strong urge to redefine yourself or break free from old patterns. This could coincide with a shift in your relationship status, or a dramatic change in the way others perceive you. The 1st to 7th house axis being activated means there could be a turning point in your personal and partnership dynamics, where you are asked to balance your own needs with the needs of another. You might feel torn between asserting independence and maintaining harmony with those you are connected to. Meanwhile, your ruler Saturn retrograding in Pisces in the 2nd house will keep you grounded in practical concerns, particularly those involving finances, resources, and values. This influence can make you reassess shared assets, joint financial commitments, or the material side of partnerships. If you are in business with a partner, you may revisit agreements to ensure they are fair and sustainable. Saturn retrograde here also asks you to slow down and think carefully before making any major commitments, financial or otherwise. This is not the time for rushed decisions, as the karmic undertones of this period suggest that whatever you agree to now could have long-term consequences. Because this Sun transit is also accompanied by Mercury's movement from Cancer to Leo on August 30th, and then into Virgo, its exaltation sign, on September 15th, communication will play a key role in how this period unfolds. Early in the transit, conversations with partners may feel more emotional or sensitive, but once Mercury enters Leo, there's an opportunity to speak with more confidence and clarity. When Mercury moves into Virgo later, discussions can become more precise, analytical, and solution-oriented. This sequence suggests that while the start of the transit may bring up emotional truths, the latter part helps you approach matters with practicality and reason. Venus's journey during this period also matters. Beginning in Gemini alongside Jupiter, Venus will enter Cancer on August 21st, highlighting your 6th house of daily routines, work, and service. This could bring cooperation and understanding in work-related partnerships, or the support of a partner in managing responsibilities. Then, when Venus moves into Leo on September 15th, just before the Sun leaves the sign, your relationships could receive a boost of charm and warmth. This could soften the intensity of the Sun-Ketu influence and bring moments of joy, attraction, or renewed affection, provided you are operating from authenticity rather than obligation. Mars's transit from Virgo to Libra on September 13th adds a layer of action to your house of travel, higher learning, and expansion. For some Aquarians, this can signal travel with a partner or a mutual pursuit of a shared goal, while for others, it could indicate debates or negotiations about future plans. Mars here supports taking action toward growth, but you may need to ensure that this does not lead to unnecessary confrontations or impulsive decisions, especially with eclipse energy still lingering. Overall, this Sun transit in Leo is both empowering and revealing for Aquarius individuals. It encourages you to step into a place of greater self-awareness in relationships, to release old patterns of codependency or inauthenticity, and to focus on building connections that truly resonate with your evolving identity. The combination of the Sun's dignity in Leo, Ketu's spiritual detachment, the eclipse's emotional surge, and Saturn's practical influence creates a complex but ultimately transformative period. While there may be moments of uncertainty or emotional intensity, the deeper purpose of this transit is to align your partnerships with your true self, even if that requires letting go of what no longer fits. For Pisces, the Sun rules your 6th house of service, health, daily routines, debts, disputes, competition, and subordinates. During this transit, the Sun moves through Leo, its own sign, and your 6th lord enters the 6th house itself, forming a strong connection to the themes of this house. This placement can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it has the potential to give you strength, determination, and a greater sense of discipline in dealing with challenges, but on the other hand, it can also bring intense focus on the very issues that may cause stress or conflict. When the Sun is conjunct Ketu in Leo during this period, the influence becomes more complex, introducing themes of detachment, spiritual awareness, and karmic lessons connected to 6th house matters. You may feel an unusual mix of wanting to confront challenges head-on, while also sensing a lack of interest in certain worldly disputes or office politics that you once cared about. The presence of the Sun in the 6th house can empower you to tackle obstacles with more courage, especially in the workplace. You may be more willing to take responsibility, face competition, and push through demanding situations. Because Ketu is also here, your victories may feel strangely unfulfilling, as if your motivation comes more from an inner need to clear karmic debts than from a desire for recognition. This is a period when service-oriented work, problem-solving, and efforts towards self-improvement can yield lasting benefits, even if they don't bring immediate external rewards. In fact, if you approach your work with humility and a sense of purpose rather than ego, you are likely to experience both personal growth and positive long-term outcomes. Health matters could also come into focus during this time. The 6th house governs physical well-being, and the Sun's transit here tends to highlight vitality, immunity, and stamina. You might feel more aware of your diet, exercise, and general lifestyle habits, particularly if you have been neglecting them. Ketu's conjunction with the Sun can sometimes bring vague health symptoms or conditions that are difficult to diagnose, requiring you to be more attentive to your body's signals. A proactive approach, including regular checkups and stress management, will be especially important, since the Sun also relates to the heart and vitality. Avoiding overwork and ensuring adequate rest will help you maintain balance. Workplace dynamics may become more intense during this transit, especially if you are in a competitive field. You could find yourself dealing with rivals, opponents, or people who challenge your authority. While the sun's placement here can help you assert yourself, Ketu's influence might push you toward resolving these matters with detachment rather than confrontation. You may realize that certain conflicts are not worth your energy, leading you to focus on what truly matters for your progress. This is also a favorable period for strategizing behind the scenes, researching, and gathering information to gain an edge in professional situations. The total lunar eclipse on September 7th in Aquarius occurs in your 12th house, where the moon will join Rahu. This eclipse can trigger heightened emotions, dreams, and subconscious revelations. It may also connect to themes of letting go, releasing habits, attachments, or environments that no longer serve your higher purpose. Since the 12th house also governs foreign connections, travel, and spiritual retreats, you might find yourself considering journeys that help you recharge on a deeper level. The eclipse energy can temporarily blur clarity, so it's best to avoid major decisions in the days surrounding the event, especially related to finances, partnerships, or career moves. Instead, use this time for reflection and inner work, trusting that clearer insights will emerge after the energies stabilize. Your ruling planet Jupiter is currently transiting Gemini in your 4th house, expanding matters related to home, emotional stability, and inner peace. This Jupiter position supports you in finding comfort and security even as the Sun and Ketu highlight work-related challenges. You may draw strength from your family, living environment, or even home-based activities. There may also be moments when you feel torn between professional demands and personal needs. Finding a healthy rhythm between work and rest will be vital. Saturn's retrograde in Pisces, your 1st house, adds another layer of intensity to this period. This is a time of self-review, self-discipline, and responsibility. Saturn's influence is prompting you to reassess your goals, priorities, and identity. While the Sun in the 6th house pushes you to engage with external challenges, Saturn retrograde is asking you to refine your internal structure. This combination suggests that your ability to handle competition or overcome obstacles now depends largely on your personal discipline, boundaries, and emotional resilience. Mercury's movements also play a significant role in this period. Currently in Cancer in your 5th house, Mercury emphasizes creativity, strategic thinking, and intellectual pursuits. On August 30th, Mercury enters Leo, joining the Sun and Ketu in your 6th house, sharpening your analytical abilities for problem solving but also increasing the potential for misunderstandings in workplace communication. Clear and precise expression will be essential. Then, on September 15th, Mercury moves into Virgo, your 7th house, where it becomes exalted. This shift can bring clarity to partnerships, contracts, and negotiations, helping you find cooperative solutions to any tensions that may have arisen earlier. Financially, this transit can encourage you to clear debts or organize your expenses more efficiently. The Sun's 6th house energy supports repayment of loans and resolution of pending disputes, while Ketu's presence may push you to reconsider unnecessary expenditures or financial obligations that drain your resources. If you work in fields connected to service, healthcare, law, or problem-solving professions, you may see steady progress now, though perhaps not in the form of instant recognition. Spiritually, the combination of Sun and Ketu in the 6th house can inspire deep reflection about the meaning of service, humility, and detachment from ego. You may find yourself drawn toward meditation, charitable work, or practices that purify both the mind and body. The 6th house is also tied to karmic debts, so helping others selflessly now can help you resolve long-standing patterns. Overall, this is a month that demands both strength and surrender. The Sun's transit through Leo energizes your ability to face and overcome challenges. But Ketu reminds you that not every battle needs to be fought with force. Some are best resolved through wisdom, patience, and letting go. The lunar eclipse will stir your subconscious and highlight areas of life where closure or healing is needed, while Jupiter and Saturn guide you toward a more grounded, structured approach to both personal and professional growth. If you can balance determination with detachment and action with introspection, this period has the potential to bring significant inner growth and a clearer sense of purpose moving forward. As we conclude this episode, please keep in mind that these insights are based on the Sidereal Zodiac system used in Vedic astrology, which differs from the tropical system by approximately 24 degrees. These are general predictions, and outcomes will vary depending on your individual birth chart. The influence of transits is deeply shaped by your ongoing dasha periods and the specific placement of planets in your natal chart. What may be a time of progress for one person could mark a period of reflection or challenge for another. This is why it's essential to interpret transits within the context of your unique chart. If you're seeking a more personalized understanding of how current transits may impact you, or if you have specific questions about your birth chart, feel free to reach out to us. If you found this content helpful, please consider liking the video, sharing it with others who may benefit, and subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates. Thank you for watching. We look forward to continuing to share deeper astrological insights with you. Until next time, stay aware, keep learning, and keep shining bright.